Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick and welcome back to another video. So today in this video we're going to be making a custom torch. Now this idea was brought up to me by I think it's Kyle Marsh. Now I expected to do this about like 2 weeks ago, but then I actually got the torch finished and then I didn't have time to make the video and I was like, oh no. So here we are yet another 2 weeks later, so it's been a total of a month. He asked, hey man, I really enjoy your tutorials and they're super useful. I don't want to sound super cheeky, but if you have any idea on how to implement custom torches, I would love to see that in a video or something. I've been trying to get my own take on the torch going for a bit now, and I can't seem to get it all to add up properly. Keep doing the videos, man. They're honestly worth it. Thank you so much for the extra audacital comment. And I responded back, I'll see what I can do. Now this one is actually an easy concept for part 1, which is actually adding the torch itself. 2, when making it custom, you're going to have the particles, and the particle is going to be like you're going to have your torch and then Minecraft's like particle with it, and it's not going to necessarily look good unless like you're making a like I don't know if you want to make a custom like I don't know what kind of torch you're making. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new torch, we're going to recolor it, and we're going to add in a custom particle to match the custom torch that we're making. That's what we're going to be doing. All right. So first things first. Since this is a Minecraft madness thing, we're going to be using probably my everything that I have, and because I've never actually made particles before. We're going to have to add a brand new particle, but that's going to be part 2. Part 1 is going to be really, really interesting, and that has to do with the block and the item. So the first thing, I'm going to look up the block first. So let's look up blocks. If I do include non-project files, and I look up blocks from net.minecraft.block. And here, what we want to do is we want to basically see, if we're just copying what they're doing, we're just going to look up torch and then try and see what they did. What could they have done? Torch flower. Torch. And it seems that it is a torch block, and it seems that this thing is going to get a little interesting because there's also a wall torch. And what separates the both of them is by the item when you're holding it, because the block only exists in the world, not in your inventory. The item exists in your inventory, and it's saying that based on what you're like looking at, like what side of the block you click on in the world, that's what's going to determine the item turning into either a wall or a regular torch. So actually, let's just copy both of these over. Make sure that I have the same. Oh yeah, I don't even have all of it. Copy both of these over. We're gonna Control-C. And we're just going to put them inside of our just mod blocks, whatever. If I just kind of, we'll just stick them at the top. Obviously, there's going to be some errors. This is just my, just really basic. So let's grab a pretty simple block, one that I haven't done anything with. Fabric. This is practically Control-C. And then we're just going to Control-V and then Control-V. Now, obviously, we're going to want to rename these somehow so that they're ours. And then, obviously, we don't need the strength modifier. We're just going to be just moving things around. So if you just want to just sit back, relax, and see how I attempt this. Now, a lot of people like to use either mod or custom. I think for this one, we can probably just say, or you could say new torch. Let's call this the purple torch. I have an idea for like a custom recipe for this, but it's not going to make sense. That's going to be more your problem. the creativity of how you want this done. I'm just going to show you how to make a torch. That's all this is for. We don't have to be even creative at all. Purple torch. I just want to make it sort of look pretty. And I think a purple torch won't look so bad. Considering there's already a blue one and a red one, why not go for purple? Now, what's important here is that it is extending a new torch block. So that is going to be what is up. While we're here, let's see if I can just... actually, that might cause a little bit of an issue. Let's take from Flame. Yeah, let's just take from Flame all the way to torch block, Control-C. Let's see what happens if I just do, let's say, this, Control-V. New true unexpected token. There we go. Wow, look at that. That was actually a really good guess. And then it says all you have to do now is add the particle types, and this is what I was talking about. You're going to have the Minecraft, so I'm going to have a purple torch with a Minecraft orange flame, and that's why we're going to have to make a custom particle. If you don't want a particle at all, you're still going to have to make a custom particle and make that custom particle absolutely nothing because, or actually, if you want to get even more complicated, if you really wanted to, so this is a torch block. If you just want to make a custom torch block, so just make an extend block, copy and paste literally everything in here, rename the class to whatever your class is, and then just get rid of this particle effect parameter, and then this, and then getting rid of this, the parameter, and this. You won't even need the parameter anymore, and you can just have a regular block without a particle effect. So, but that's if you want to do it either from the class, or if you already have particles, that's it. There's two ways of doing it. But assuming that you do want a particle, I'm going to make it with its own custom particle just to show you. Cool. So that is going to be purple torch, and then I really don't want to. I hate how they say wall first. But I guess we'll do it for tutorial purposes. Wall. Oh, let's call it purple torch. Purple. Wall purple torch. And then we're gonna call this a wall. Purple torch. All right, now we have that. And what did we learn from our mistake? So I think instead of caking that one, we're gonna start by flame all the way to wall torch, Control C, and then we are just going to take from create to block. There we go. There we go. No problems. Well, this one, but drops like, and then instead of saying torch, we're going to actually want to call this the, in caps, our purple torch. So basically, if you break this, you could say it drops like, and then it's going to take the loot table of, well, if I said torch, it's going to drop a Minecraft torch, but dropping a purple torch will drop a purple torch, so we'll get that later. The main thing is, your stuff is basically done. These can use lambda's expressions, so replace with lambda. Replace with lambda. Awesome. Pretty long, but basically, if we just kind of break it down a little bit, let's see if there's anything really unique. Well, we already saw something unique about one of them, but abstract, create, non-collision, so you can't collide with it. It breaks instantly. It has aluminum to 14, so it's pretty bright. It sounds like wood, so you can change whatever the sound you want. Piston will destroy it. I think that still means it still has a loot table, but destroy just means it'll break the block if it tries collision. And then the particle types is the flame. Item, this one is specific to my code, so it just means give it an item model. If I want to make one of these false, which I might want to do that later, if there ends up being like, if it gets up weird, we'll end up changing one of these. Wall purple torch. Non-collision, breaks instantly, luminant. Okay, so the only special one is literally just the drops like, and as long as it points to the purple torch again, perfectly fine. So now that these are basically in, we don't actually have to make any custom classes, so this was really, really easy. What we are going to need to do is we're also going to need to make the item variation. So let's look up items, include non-project files, Minecraft.item. And then you know the drill, torch, and then let's go on torch flower, torch, soul torch, redstone torch, torch flower seeds, torch. Oh my goodness. But look at that. This is going to contain a torch registering a block item, vertically attachable block item, blocks torch, and this is what we're going to make our purple torch, blocks wall torch, which we're going to make our wall purple torch with the settings, direction down. I think the direction down is specifically saying that when it's talking about, like, if you're touching the downside of a block, place a torch. Otherwise, make it a wall torch. And if it's up, since it's not, doesn't have that setting, don't do anything. So let's just copy this over, Control C, and then we're going to get into our items class. Items, mod items. We're going to go straight up for the very, very top. And then I'll probably just move this into my code if I decide to keep it, modify it, something like that. Let's get a brand new, regular, super generic item. So we're going to copy this. And then, so here, this says torch again. So if I call this purple torch, and then I'm going to call this item specifically. And the reason is because if I decided to just call it purple torch, right here in the green name is super important when it's registering things. If I call this purple torch, and then I have this block item, which is also called purple torch, that's going to cause a crash. So we're going to call this one torch item. Oop. Torch time! I selected the, not backspace. Startled me, I was like, oh no, I'm typing in gibberish. So now we have the purple torch item and saying register item, which we know it's going to do the block item, but from direction down. Let's let's take this all the way to vertically attached. Control C. So we're leaving 2 open, 1, 2 open, and then we're going to do Control V. Any problems? Oh, oop. It says there is a problem. What is the problem? Is it too much? Expected, which means yeah, there's one too much. All right. So now let's take this out. Let's see what we're coding with here. All right. So basically, blocks. We don't want this to be blocks. We want this to be our mod blocks. Wherever you put your torch, and then we're gonna have to call for purple torch, and then this is going to be once again mod blocks, and then our wall purple torch. So now the item is grabbing our mod torches, and then our torches are, well, they are registered as new torch types, but they don't need their own class. So that is basically all of that done. So now that all the items and stuff are registered, if I try to load up the game, we're going to have a ton of missing textures because, well, each of these things, well, the blocks are going to need their own block state, and yeah, stuff. Let's grab some stuff. So I already have an opened packet. I think I already have a video specifically on how to open packets. If I do, I'll leave like a little link or something on how to open your packets. But we have an assets, Minecraft. We're going to look into block states because there are 2 block states. There is torch and wall torch. So let's torch, if I can spell. And then here we have a bunch of torches. Let's use the official versions just so that we know what is up. Keep that there. Let's get back into our block states. So we have this torch, and we're going to be calling this purple torch. Awesome. Let's take a peek. Make sure that it is going to be whatever your model ID is. So for mine, it's HMH2, and then it's going to be block, and then purple torch. Awesome. So that is that one already done. We have the wall torch block states, and then we have the wall. We decided to call it purple wall, purple torch. Make sure you spell it correctly, otherwise it's obviously not going to work. And then I'm going to use a cheeky little trick here. We're going to Control F. I am going to select all of an instance that repeats. We're going to go all the way back to the Minecraft, HMH2, wall, purple torch. And if you're just curious what this does, simply it just says, in basic, what direction is the player facing? If he's facing east, put the model regularly, quotes regularly. If not, if he's facing north, rotate the y-axis of the level of the block, the model that we're making, and just turn it 270 degrees. If it's facing south, turn it 90. If it's facing west, the opposite of east, then turn 180. So that sort of semi should make sense. It just depends on how bright-minded one is. I'm gonna leave the lang files out for now because it's, I like to like specifically see what's wrong before I try and fix it. So we're gonna let the thing say block dot purple torch. So now for the models. Now this is where things are gonna get a little interesting. So let's model block. We're going to do the same. We're going to look up the torch. And like I said, there's just going to be a torch. Ooh, look at that. There's even a template here, as well as the template for the wall. Now, we don't actually have to do anything with these. This is what specially is making the shape of the torch look the way it does, at its angle and stuff like that. If you want to get into that kind of stuff, we are actually eventually going to get into this kind of stuff, but um, that'll not be in Minecraft Madness. That'll be in my actual tutorials, and we have to finish all the block stuff if we were into that. And to do that, I need a lot more time. There's plenty of stuff planned out. But we'll see how it all goes. So for the block, we have the torch. We're going to shove our torch in here in our models, and then obviously we're going to call it the purple torch. Okay. And then this is the Minecraft block template torch. Unless you are changing the model of how you would like the torch to look like, you would want to make a new template. If not, you want to make it look like Minecraft's regular torch, keep this as their torch, don't touch this, leave it alone, and we're just going to change the torch type, because that's literally what it's called by the template, funny enough. But we're just going to call this HMH2, and we're going to call this purple torch. Alright, and then that was pretty simple. Because we're not making a complicated, upside down, specially new block. Wall, purple, torch. So we're going to add the wall variant, and then same thing. The wall torch has its own template, so we're just going to ignore it because we're not that cool. And what you'll notice is that it also doesn't have like a wall type as well. It's also going to be called from the purple torch type because the shape is the same texture, that the way it's getting slapped on is exactly the same as the purple torch texture. So there's no reason to give it a third texture if they are going to be the exact same. The template just is how it is placed, formed, shaped, and then we're going to slap the texture on it. And it's the same shape, so no reason to make a new texture. So we have those two in place, and you'll notice that the wall, and then they're still placing torch. So when this happens, when we make our texture, we're going to be using a universal single texture, and we are going to be placing it in our block, not our item. So now that we're getting into the item model, it's probably also going to point to the block because it is also registered as a block item. So it's most likely what's going to happen because the item, well, it just kind of sits at the thing. All right, so now we have our models, and once again, let's look up the torch. So here we have our regular torch. Let's put it into our item, and then let's take a look. Parent item generated Minecraft block torch. So even though it's an item, it's still getting registered under the block because everything else is put there. So it's just for consistency. Purple torch. Now we have 3 textures all pointing to one texture group. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that is in place there. So I guess from here we have our block state, our models. Sounds, textures. So we're gonna have to make a texture. Let's open up GIMP. And you can use the same exact thing that I'm doing if you really want. That's only if you use GIMP, I guess. Or if you can figure out how to do it on whatever one you're using. So remember, it's going to be in block, and then we're going to be looking at the torch. And then we'll use, well, just the regular torch. It seems to only have one state. Awesome. And then we're going to zoom in. So you can either make your custom colors, do whatever you want. I'm going to be cheeky. Watch this. Let's make a new one. Let's, paste. I'm just going to make a new texture. So I don't want these. Control C, delete. And then I just realized that I didn't even need to do that, I don't think. So now if I do color, birch, nope, stop doing that. Hue chroma. Let's put this to, what is it? It'd be going, no, the other way. Let's go to like 85. 80, ooh, that's a good one. 85? 80, 80, 80. 75. Yeah. Let's do 80. 80, okay. Control V. And then we can just put this back down. And it turns out I did not need to. So if it changed the color, I just would have pasted them both into a new slide, and it turns out I didn't do that. So let's export as, and obviously I'm not going to be putting this in my Minecraft files, so we're going to put this in our pictures, and then I'm going to be calling this the purple torch.png. Export. Awesome. And well, we're also going to be making the particle type, so I guess we'll keep this open. So we can grab our, I guess we can just, pictures, purple torch, torch. Oh my goodness, I'm getting mixed up. Textures, block, this is where we're shoving it, purple torch. Ignore me, I went to a Japanese festival. Alright. Okay, Minecraft block texture, purple torch. We're also going to want to call this HMH2. I'm glad I actually noticed that like last second. That would have been really funny. Really funny. I think we're going to have a client issue possibly. Let's Control D on my banana peel. Control D again. So the thing about the textures is there is some invisible space for the blocks. And so if I don't do this, it's going to make it like black. So we're going to have to call in our purple torch and our wall purple torch. If you don't know the code, block render layer map instance put block mod blocks purple torch render dot get cutout. This one's actually important because get translucent is like if it's glass and see-through. We're just going to be using dot get cutout. So if you don't have a client mod, I should have already made a video on this previously before. So hopefully you got it from here. Big tough gazots otherwise. I think we're ready to show off the part 1. So unfortunately I did not get a the item group, so we're going to have to do this manually. / give @s. And this is gonna get a little bit weird. What? Oh. Purple. I got so startled for a moment. Purple torch. Wait, purple torch time. I actually said oh my gosh. That's kind of funny. Alright, so now we have this purple torch. Alright, so yes, so this is what the basic of the torch is going to look like. So because I called it purple torch time in the main registry file, it's not necessarily going to work. But we can easily fix that. I can't believe I said something that time because I spelled it wrong and then still spelled it time. But this is what the basics of the torch look like if I had the other thing fixed. Because that #1 file isn't working, the rest of them aren't going to be working. But this is what the basic of the torch looks like. Obviously, it has the Minecraft particle, which actually, it doesn't look too bad. But we're going to make it look better. And it's going to do the same exact thing that the torch is doing because we're going to be doing some more copy casing, where we're just copying Minecraft's code, putting our name on top of it, and calling it a day. So first, let's fix all the problems that we currently have, and also, oh, it's called, oh, because it's my, wait, if I, okay, there we go. Purple torch, oh, wait, there we go, I cheated. That's funny. Okay, so now we have one that can be put on the wall and the floor. I did the selection thing. That's really funny that it's raining. Okay. But now you can see what they all look like in their greater glory. And so we have block purple torch, and well, no matter what, it's called purple torch. So now that we know that it's officially called, whether it is a wall, if I middle mouse button click on this, if it'll take me to purple torch. If I middle button, it'll take me to purple torch. So HMH. That's what we're going to be changing the lang file, and we're also going to be changing the name set file because I accidentally messed up. So first things first, we're going to items, and it's no longer called time. My goodness, it's going to be called item. I can't believe I did that, lol. And then for the block of the lang file, let's go into our lang, and then we can put this wherever we want, but you know me, let's put this at the top. Just for now, because this is a brand new. Typically in the length, for some reason I like to put them at the bottom, but it's called block.hmh2. Purple torch. And then we're going to call this purple torch. Okay, so I called this, okay, refactor, rename. We're going to need to call this the purple torch. And it's going to, yeah. So we're going to have that. Item generated. Okay, so now that should be fine. Back in the mod blocks, I said that I was going to do this earlier. So we have a partial, and we say, do I want to give it an item model? So let's just say false. And then let's make these false. Just because there is an item model, it's just the item piece. So that should get rid of that. Purple torch, kind of rename. Item. That was probably what it was. Oh, thank goodness. Purple torch. There we go. Purple torch. Purple torch. Awesome. So if we go in survival, the only thing that we're going to have to make is we're going to make the loot table to the best of our ability. Because it doesn't have a loot table, but this does. Alright, so let's do that real quick. I think that should... we can also add in a little recipe. Why not? So that it's craftable. So we'll do just those kind of basics. Now, I can't say that I haven't learned anything from this video, because apparently you unlock the torch recipe when you get a stone pickaxe. I didn't know that's how this worked. But apparently getting a stone pickaxe is how you unlock the torch recipe. So I did the same thing and added it to that. That has got to be the strangest thing I've ever heard. I would have expected, oh, maybe if you pick up a stick, or maybe if you pick up some coal, you know, you would get it. Nah, it's when you pick up, the moment you pick up a stone pickaxe, is the moment you say, ah, yes, coal on stick, light. You know, I don't know. I just thought that was pretty odd. But I decided to make it so that if you put an amethyst shard, hopefully I spelled it right. This is how we're going to find out if I spelled it right or not. Let's go in survival. You just put amethyst shard on a stick, and you get 4 of your purple little torches, and it does make the items. So, and then dropping it. Alright, so I think it clearly doesn't work. So let's see what I did with the loot table, and then once it's fixed, well, oops. It was just another simple mistake of just make sure you call it purple torch item and not just regular torch. Alright, once again, I had messed up putting the word item not at the bottom, and obviously, I don't know, it's just confusing when you place it in the world, but now it should 100% work. If it is on a wall, if you remember, it says drops like, and so it should do the same thing on the wall or on the floor. So as long as you make the main item, it should beautifully work. So it's got a loot table, it had the advancement, you saw it pop up in the corner, the recipe works, the loot table works. So now this torch is fully functional, but it just doesn't quite look the way I just want it to. I want it to have a custom particle specifically to blend in with that nice purple pink that we got there, the little magenta. So let's make a custom particle just for you. If you didn't even want a custom particle, oh well, we're making it anyways. Alright, starting a new part, let's close all our tabs, and let's close all of our nice little folders, because we're basically starting from scratch with a brand new topic. The first thing that we are going to want to do for a custom particle is, well, we have to make the registry. It's a completely new thing that I haven't even made before. So let's do a new package, and then we're going to call this particle. And and then here, let's see. We're going to need to make a mod particle types, I guess. Because assuming that this is going to be the only particle that I make. Now, the first thing that I've learned to do when making a registry is I make the registry that gets put in the client first. Now, I was talking to a friend, Vapor, and he was trying to describe how anything that is static can be, like, pulled. I don't know. I barely get it, but I feel like... And then we're going to go directly into here so that I don't forget about it. And then we can just add at the bottom. So we can just say the mod particle type, set register mod particles. Bam, registered. So now if I make anything, it will be registered. And I think that's because it's static that this works. Could be wrong. I was just anything that's static with this, and then it's static, anything gets registered into the static, it pulls everything from the class? No idea. Something like that. I don't know. He tried to explain it to me, and I still don't think I get it entirely. Because I'm also still learning, because I am a student. But it's okay. I'm a good student. I'm a smart student. Public, static, and then we're going to be making a, well, we're going to have to make, for whatever reason in the Minecraft code, they call it default particle type. No idea why, but we're going to call this as a register, I always hate this word, particle, because we're making one at a time. Each particle is going to need its own string and name, so this is basically every time you register something, it's whatever, and then we're going to, sorry, I didn't mean to be like that, default particle type, and then the particle type. Alright. And this is when we get into the really, really, really fun part. So return, because I hate the word registry. Registry. I think it's this one. Registry, register, registries. Dot. We're making a particle type. Woo! So then this is going to be put under a new identifier, and that new identifier is going to be put under our hmh2.modid with the name for its file path, and then we're going to have the particle type. Bam, look at that. A brand new registry. Yeah. And then we're going to be making all the particle types we want here. You've seen how this has been done many times. Static, final, default, particle. Oop, I did not put extra space there. Not that it matters, but just being, nice. So here is where we're going to start calling our particle type. So we're going to call this purple flame, and it's going to equal register particle, the one that we just called, and like I said, the first parameter is the name, so we're going to have to call this purple flame. It's a good idea to keep them the same name, otherwise you just get confused, as you saw before where I said item and then just regular torch, and I was getting confused all over the place, so very good idea. And this one is actually going to take a fabric setting, fabric particle types dot simple. We don't need to make anything more complicated than we don't have to. Alright, so that is the registry for the purple, but now we need to actually register the particle, because right now it does nothing. I wonder if, at this point, so technically, right, if I go into my mod blocks, and then, remember how I said that you have to make something? So now that I have the thing, we're going to learn something together. Let's call this, mod particle types dot, and then we're going to call this the purple flame. You could probably see where I got the name from. Mod particle types dot purple flame. And since it's not registered, I'm just curious. I just have to see, will it just not do the particle anymore? Because it has no information to pull from, right? I wonder if this is the fastest way to make an invisible texture. We're going to learn this together. Or it's going to crash. Oh, look at that. It literally just gets rid of the particle. Now, there is a smoke particle that is part of the torch class, but the actual particle itself, if you don't give it actually any information, it doesn't crash your game. So if you want to make a completely blankless particle, that is the way to go. That is the way to go. So we could just literally call that like nothing, null, void, particleless. But let's make the class now that I figured out that that's a good easy way to make something particleless. If I'm too lazy to remake a class, which I mean, sometimes it's really like situational, Yeah, let's get back into the code. Alright, so for the purple flame, the particle type of the actual flame, there are particle types. Oh no, I just saw it. Types from the Minecraft, yeah, and it's called flame. Oh, you know what that means? It's called flame part. Oh, I'm not doing shift. This is where I thought it was. Flame particle. And here we have this entire class. So what we're going to need to do in our particle, let's make a new Java. Let's call this a purple flame. And then we are going to take this flame particle, copy the entire thing all the way up to the extends, Control C, and then we're just going to Control V, so it's going to do everything. There's going to be some errors all the time. It's because, well, number one, you're always going to have this issue. So it's now going to be purple flame, and now if it gets called anywhere else in the class, so this is the real problem because it's doing a new. So let's call this the purple purple flame, and then we can change this, and we'll fix that by the purple flame. Awesome, and then we're going to do the same thing here. Purple flame, flame particle, purple flame. Now, this is a variable name. If you really wanted to, you know, give yourself a gold star, you could change all the names of these to whatever you want. But I'm just going to keep it flame particle because it still makes sense. It still makes sense. So if somebody reads my code, it's not bad. It's worse. So firstly, because we made a new particle registry up here, we're going to have to be making a new registry in our thing down here as well in our textures. And we have a ton of textures, but we're going to have to open this up directory, and we're going to call this practicals, particles. That is going to be our new folder, and inside of our particles, we're going to add in a new thing, and you guessed it, we're going to be calling it purple torch. .json. I think it has to be called the name of the thing it's getting attached to. This could be completely wrong. And then inside of this, we can do the inside of here, and then we're going to want the textures. I decided to do this manually. You really don't have to do this. I'm just good like that. HMH2, and then we're going to call this the purple flame. So now we have this is what the texture is getting pointed to, so we're going to have to make a texture called purple flame specifically, and I did say that we were going to be doing that. So let's, now that we actually have that texture, we can go into here. Wait, that's data. Textures. Oh, wait, I messed that up, Particles. Particles needs to be its own folder. So take it out of there. So now we have particles called purple torch, and it's going to point to the texture called particle flame, in which inside of here we have textures, and then inside of here, new directory particle. Now, Particle. Okay, awesome. So this one is going to need to be a single name. Now, normally, for whatever reason, when it is outside of the texture folder, it is always going to generally be plural, while inside of this block, entity, GUI, item, effect, painting, particle, they're always going to be singletons. So that is generally how it works, because that's how they decided they wanted to be. So this is where we're going to show our texture. So we know that it's called a flame particle. So let's open up our GIMP and put it on the side. We're just going to make a new 16 by 16. So we're just going to discard this old one. Let's open up our thing again. Assets, Minecraft, textures, particle. Remember so how it was single. We're going to call this flame. Shove it in here because we're totally not copying it. Alright, so now it is inside of here. So we're going to do the color, hue chroma, and then I think we said 80. Did we say 80 or 85? I think we said 80. So let's make this 80 to make them nice and consistent. We're going to hit OK. Now we're going to export as, put it in my pictures, and we're going to call this purple flame. Awesome. Exports. There we go. Took a second. And then we can go into our little pictures, purple flame, and then we're going to put this in our particle. Boop. And as long as it is called the same name that we have called it before in our purple torch, purple flame, HMH2, perfect. The only thing that I think that we're going to need to do now Because actually we already put it on the block. Let's go into the client. We're gonna have to add another brand new thing to the initializer. Let's put it at the bottom. Let's just put it at the very bottom. I know I put everything at the top, but this one we're gonna put this at the bottom. So here we're gonna have a particle factor registry dot get instance dot dot register mod particle types. There we go. And then we're going to want to put in our particle, or not particle, purple flame. And then we're going to do our purple flame class dot factory : new. All right, and so now I am about to hope for the best. Something could go wrong, making sure that everything touches purple flame, purple flame. If you didn't do this for my example before, make sure that you change them to purple flame now. Let's hope for the best. No! It crashed! My dreams are crushed. Oh, what did I forget? Does the crash report help me at all? This sprite is null. Maybe this is supposed to be called purple flame because it's talking about the particles. And the particle name in my registry is called purple flame. So maybe that has to be the same name as this. And if that's the case, well, then that was a very silly mistake. Oh my gosh. There we go. It worked. Why are they so tiny? I have no idea. They are definitely not supposed to be that tiny. But they are working. They are, in fact, working. That is very strange. But you can see that at the beginning of the particle, let's see if we can make them a little bit bigger. Because if I compare to a normal torch, it should definitely be a lot larger than that. Yeah. Maybe it was when I implemented it into the thing. I'm not too sure. And also, I'm seeing like some sort of like side glitching. Very strange. But yeah, this is like twice the size. But it is, the basics of it are working. So now let's just do a little adaptation code. We're just gonna look at a couple things. But yeah, it turns out that little name change, that little name change caused all these problems. But now we do have a torch. It's very tiny, but I think actually it's kind of cute. I could definitely see that being like if I was holding like what are the handheld chandelier things? Like I like the little flame, like especially like how it like floats, like a candle wick. I feel like that's how the candle wick should kind of be. But yeah, let's definitely try and see if we can make it bigger. Wait, I wonder if it's because this is on a 16 by 16 and it's not supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be, it's the right size but the wrong like template format. So let's paste this 8 by 8, export as. We're going to call this one purple flame. I was going to look at the get size code and I was going to multiply it by 2 and I was trying to think of like what that would do, and then it like, because there's this get size and it says basically take 1 minus the multiple and a half, so then I was going to make this like 2 and then over 1. But then I realized like that might not even be the problem at all. It might literally just be the fact that the texture size, because it doesn't actually tell me oh, wait, but I can actually officially look it up too. So here we have that's our particle, and this is our flame, which is a 16 by 16. So let's so we do have this, right? This is our 8 by 8. So let's throw this in here, refactor overwrite. So now we have a particle called purple flame. It's an 8x8. Let's restart the game. While that's loading, though, I want to look at assets, Minecraft, textures, particle. Let's look up flame, if I could spell it right. And then let's go and look at more options? No. Just let me see the properties. Let me see the properties. It is an 8x8, yeah, so that was literally my issue. I put an 8x8 texture on a 16. Oops. So now, yeah, these officially, now I'm very confident that was the problem and that now it should be working. Yeah, now they're the right size. That's kind of, what lesson did we learn here? We learned that size matters. Alright, so now that our torch is completely working, I mean, that's basically it. That's a completely new torch. It's got its own recipe. So, like, if you remember, I got to get myself some of an amethyst, and then we got to get ourselves a stick, and then we can go and we can simply just put that on there. Boom, we get 4. We can put it on the side, on top. It'll have its little particles completely. We can break it, and so now we have this. It is called a purple torch, and the item on here, if we use our F3 key on here, should be just called purple torch, and then if I put it on the wall, it's called a wall purple torch. So that's all the technical stuff, but that is a completely new... It's a completely new torch. I mean, that's what you asked for, right? I mean, if you ask, if there's anything more that you need, I'm gonna kill that donkey. If there's anything more that you wanted, just kind of let me know. Any more or less. Particles are completely new, and we'll probably like get into more specifically how to make custom particles, so that it's not like these specific ones. But that's how these ones are working. So. That's going to wrap up this video. So, well, thank you guys so much for watching. And without further ado, I hope this guy gets to see this video, despite it being like 2 weeks late, 4 weeks in, a whole month. I would laugh if he figured it out after a month. Like, after a month, he just figured it out on his own. Because honestly, I've done that many times where I've asked for help. Well, usually, sometimes nobody helps me, because I ask for the strangest things. But eventually, I figure them out. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. And without further ado... stay lit.